She's been through storms, she's walked through fire, still moves with strength, not loud but higher. No spotlight needed, no grand applause. She stands for truth, she knows her cause, and she's not perfect, but she's real and sure. A woman of virtue who will endure.
Welcome to Love, Ladies of Virtue Endure. I am your host, Lorraine, and joining me are two beautiful ladies, Tanya and Crystal. Tonight's topic is going to be on honesty and friendships. But before we delve in, I just want to say thank you to all of the people who viewed our podcast last week, the premiere. It was Write the Vision, Make It Plain. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for sharing it. We appreciate your love and support for our podcast. So, once again, I think this is a juicy topic. Honesty and friendships. So, are we really honest in our friendships? And we're going to talk about it. When I saw this subject, I was like, whoa, it had me thinking and reflecting. And not so much in a huge way, but maybe sometimes in a small way that I might not be truthful with friends. So we're going to dive in this topic. We'll have a couple of questions to put on the floor. And maybe while we're talking, what we want you to think about are two things. Do I care enough about my friendship to be real? And the second one is, do I trust my friendship enough to be vulnerable? So as we speak and answer questions, kind of ponder on those two questions. Okay. So ladies, how do you define honesty in a friendship that's rooted in faith? Who wants to go first? Tanya, you shaking your head. Go on, girl.
No, I was turning it over to Crystal. Passing the ball. How do I define honesty in friendships that is rooted in faith? Well, first, let me say I think that honesty in and of itself is rooted in faith, right? Because it's a characteristic of God, I believe. I think that if we are not honest, then we are being deceitful, which is not of God, and so on and so forth. So I think the foundation of honesty is faith. The way that I describe honesty in friendship is, when you truly have a friend, somebody that you ride with, somebody that you're chilling with, somebody that knows you, because number one, I'm cautious about who I call friend. You don't really have a choice but to be honest, because number one, that friend knows you, right? If they're a friend, they know you, they can tell by the face, oh, how you like this outfit? How you like my hair? It's great. I love it, right? They know that I'm not telling the truth. So why even beat around that bush? But just go ahead and tell them, because honesty is, I think that sometimes we think that honesty is mean and honesty is cruel. And although some people may take it as such, it's not. It's really done in love. So honesty in friendship that's rooted in faith is just me trusting that this is my friend, trusting that they know that I don't have any ill intent. I'm not out to get them or to hurt them, but my goal is to enhance them in whatever we're talking about, where I need to be honest. So that's where I'm at with that.
Okay. Crystal, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree totally with Tanya as far as honesty being rooted in faith, because they go hand in hand. And I think that for me, what's most important when we talk about being honest in friendships is, is it edifying our friend? Is it something, are we sharing? Because sometimes, people will mask honesty with, or they feel like they have to say everything or tell you all the things, and they use that as, well, I'm just being honest. Yeah. But when we are, you got to check your motives. Where's this I'm just telling the truth coming from? Because everything that is truth does not need to be said. Because when I share the honesty, when I share the truth with you, is it from a place of me wanting to build you up? If it's not coming from that place, if my true motives are not to edify you and build you up, then what are we doing?
Right.
It's good.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel the same way that it should be rooted in faith. I think sometimes my issues are I'm honest when it comes to myself, or like I'm an open book, but if relating things to people, I'm kind of reserved on it. I may not speak about it, or I may be a little shallow with the truth. And that's only because I don't want to hurt or offend the person. So when we were studying this subject for talking, I was like, wow, and it could be the littlest things. You could call me up and say, hey, Ray, what are you doing? And I could absolutely be reading a book or studying or praying. And I'll be like, nothing.
Nothing. What's up?
And I do that, which is crazy because most people value their time spent. But my viewpoint is that, okay, someone's calling me, I need to give them my attention. And if I tell them I'm doing something, they may feel that I'm too busy to listen.
Yeah.
That's just me, how I roll. But so for me, it just depends on what it is about, or what it is. I try to be honest on most parts, but when it comes to them offending them, I'm not. So we're going to dive a little deeper. Have you ever had to speak hard truth to a friend out of love, and how did you navigate it? This should be interesting, maybe.
I went first last time.
I knew you were gonna say that. That's why I said I'll go. So yes, I have. I have had to share a hard truth with a friend, and I don't have a problem telling the truth. I think I may struggle with the initial sharing the truth. But once we talking about my friend, once I get into it, then, I'm able to have that conversation and just kind of pour it all out. But I think the hardest part for me personally is the initial, like, I'm like thinking of every scenario and how is this going to go, and how are they going to respond, and what are they going to do. And when we talked about having this discussion, and I started thinking about sharing the truth with friends, and how honest I am, and when I'm in situations where I need to have a hard conversation, I need to we need to talk about some hard things. It's I've thought about it, and it's for me, I'm being transparent here. I have grown in that area, because that has not, like, I used to say, I'm not confrontational, and I'm not a confrontational person. But just because I'm not a confrontational person doesn't mean that I have to avoid speaking the truth. And I don't like to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to be mean to anybody. So I'm like very careful. Like, what I'm going to say is super thought out. Like, I definitely will overthink it. And I have grown a smidgen in this area where I am just kind of like, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and I'm gonna lay it out, and of course I'm gonna do it in love, but it is what it is after that. I've prayed about it. I have, I've thought it through. I've went over this in my head, and even sometimes if I feel like I need to consult with wise counsel, like, hey sis, what you think about this? Like, tell me if I'm wrong. Check me, then I'm coming to you, and I'm gonna lay this out, and it's gonna fall where it is. When you get a little bit older, you get a certain age, you're like, listen, it is what it is at this point. So what we doing, sis?
Mhm. So mine, I have a girlfriend, and maybe she's watching now, and if she is, I love you. I won't say any names, but it was one time she was staying with me, and we have been, and we still are friends over I'd say about 23 years. And so we're like sisters. And there was a time she was staying with me, and she was just busy doing this and busy doing that. And for me, I'm a people person, so I value relationships. And I was about to go to Vegas for a vacation, and when I came back, she would have been gone. So I had just asked her. I said, "Hey, can we spend this Saturday together?" And she kind of acted like she didn't want to do it, and that kind of hurt my feelings. So I could feel the vibe, so I just went on about my business. And she came out, and then she was saying some things like she wants to go, but she this and this and that. And for me, for a friend, I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going, even if I'm tired, I'm going to sacrifice because we're going to spend this time together. So we had different views on that way. And it ended up, we blew up. We got into a huge fight. And I felt she was disrespecting me in my house. So I kicked her out. And, I was always pouring into her where she would, no, let me back that up. She was always pouring into me whatever she was going through. And whenever I needed to talk to her, she went on about her business or was looking at her phone and really didn't have time to talk to me or give me the attention that I felt as a friend I needed. So I told her about it, and it just really got ugly, and I kicked her out. And so I didn't care at that point. I was like, I'm standing up for myself. And because normally I don't, I just take it. And I was standing up for myself, and I don't care what she thinks. I don't care what she feels. It's all about me now. So I stood my ground. Some time went past. And when I was in Vegas, she texted me, and she was like, you know what, Lorraine? She's like, we've been friends for over all these, 20 some years. And she said, I think we need to talk. And it took her coming to me to restore the friendship. But I stood my ground, to be honest, with my truth with her. She didn't receive it well, but after time passed, she understood what I was trying to say, and she wanted me to understand what she was trying to convey to me. So now I know. I mean, and after that, some things happened where I was scared to talk to her. And then I had to pray about it and ask God to open the door for me to have some conversation with her. And I did. And it went well. It was beautiful. And so sometimes prayer is needed when you have to approach subjects that are kind of touchy. And then when you do, God gives you the right time. Because even I can stay with Crystal. I had something to share with her. And Tanya was like, just wait. It's not the time right now. And so I kept praying about it. And then the time came, and I shared with Crystal, and it was so beautiful because
Absolutely.
she shared some things with me and it was just right on time. God moved in the situation. It was wonderful. But you have to be obedient sometimes because if Tanya's telling me no as a friend, and I'm like, I don't care what Tanya says. I'm just going to talk to her anyway. It might have been the wrong time. So, taking advice from wise counsel and then going to talk to the person, God worked that out.
Mhm.
So, Tanya, let's hear your scenario.
So I agree with what both of you are saying as far as the growth. We need that growth, and our motives have to be correct. And we have to. I think that when we are being honest, we have to check. I have to check myself first. Where am I at? Is it vindictive? Is it helpful? Like you all said, but I think for me, I'm usually in prayer about it first anyway, because I have been honest in the past and it hasn't gone well. And people assume that the motive is wrong when it's not. And so, sometimes you do lose friends and they don't come back. And for me, I say it is what it is. That's kind of where I'm at this point in my life. They might have just been for a season, but praying about it to make sure that it's the right time. So I may see something in someone, in a friend, in a close friend. They may be going down a wrong path, whether it is what you talking about. It may be they're going down the wrong path, whether it is in finances, in life, in work, in relationships, in with their children. And this doesn't mean that at all I have it all together in any of those areas. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes we can see, the road that someone else is taking, maybe because we've been there or because we've had friends that have been there. And so I knew that saying something at that moment, although I wanted to, because you don't ever want to see your sister or brother heading for destruction, but their heart and that they're not in a place to receive it yet. So sometimes you have to sit on that. And for me, that's the hardest part about honesty, because I hate to say pride myself, but I pride myself in being honest. I pride myself in telling people what I see, in love, and like, hey, this thing, I don't know about that, sis. You might back up, But I also understand that if it could be the right word at the wrong time, right? And so I've learned to wait for the door to be open. And one thing I love about God is he always, and when I say always, he always, for me at least, has opened that door for me to say, hey, so yeah, remember when? And so I'm able to bring that truth about, and then it's received, right? Like, well, why didn't you tell me before? And I'll say, well, you weren't ready. I could tell you weren't ready, because I would say little things around it and I would see the response I would get, and that would let me know to back up. So for most people that know me, most friends that know me, I believe that they know that my honesty is in love, and that those that don't know that it's in love, I will say they don't know me. Because my intent is never an ill intent. But I think that yeah, there have been times where doors have completely slammed shut due to honesty, because well, you think you better than me, or this, that, and the other, and I absolutely don't. Because if we sit here and talk about our stories and our testimonies and our trials and our tribulations, I by no means have it all together, and I by all means have a crazy past. So yeah, I think that it's important for us to be honest, and luckily lately it's been going well. Those that I have to be honest with are receiving it, so that's a blessing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we talked about the role of prayer. We're struggling to be honest or even receiving honesty. And you touched on it, Tanya, with how you said it's very important to pray about things. I know I had this instance with this one friend. She was talking in front of people, and whatever she said, it just really offended me. But I'm not the type to go up to you and say, hey, what you said offended me and it really hurt my feelings. And so I harbored it. I harbored it in my heart. And I was like, God, it just hurt my feelings. And I thought it was good enough just to leave it to God. But every time I would be around her, they would say something directed toward that. And so I would say about 2 months passed. And then I was like, I just kind of like told her, hey, don't do that. I really don't like that. And she really, I was surprised that she was really upset and crying. And she was like, why didn't you tell me before? You should have told me how you were feeling, because I would have never did that or said that to you if I knew it bothered you. And I was like, well, you don't know me. I said, I just keep things inside. And she's like, no, if something's bothering you.
Yeah.
And she kind of taught me about that, because like I said, I'm normally a type of person, if I'm hurt, I'll just keep it inside and I'll pray about it and let the Lord do his thing. And so her reaction, I was surprised about. So now when I talk to her, or if something's said, I can be more open to say, hey, you know, that was kind of offensive. Maybe you shouldn't say that or say it that way. So it brought a little clarity to that. So, yeah.
That's good.
I like the what Tanya pointed out about how God always opens those doors. We stay in prayer about when to have the conversation and what to say, and you know, timing, because you know, what do you do when you have you have a hard conversation to have with somebody, and you can kind of probably pinpoint that they're not going to receive it well, because you know your friend, and you know that this, you know, the subject matter is sensitive. And so God has proven over and over again that staying in prayer and kind of seeking him on it about when to have the conversation, he be opening the door, and it's like it's amazing, because it's like, oh wait, okay, so now that we're talking about that, let me, you know, and it kind of like flows right into where you're able to have that conversation, and they receive it. And the other thing is that when you talked about motives, and Lorraine, you were talking about how you would hold stuff in. That's kind of my experience as well. And not because I didn't want to say anything, I just wanted to process it first and, you know, pray about it and kind of like question myself about whether or not my motives were okay, you know, because sometimes we're offended by stuff, but it's us, like we tripping. It's not necessarily the other person. And so I always want to make sure that if I'm like, I don't want to just fly off the handle and I'm popping off and it ain't even like that. Like I'm in my own feelings because of my own stuff. And so I will hold on to it because I'm processing it. But then by the time it's an opportunity to say something again, in my head, I'm just kind of like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal anymore. It happened like 2 weeks ago. They probably don't even remember. So I like talk myself out of saying something. And, you know, then it's kind of this thing where it festers and something else happened that builds on that. And then, you know, now I'm responding in this almost hostile way, or, you know, I'm acting, you know, funny because I've been holding on to this instead of just addressing it. You know, I mean, having the time and the space to process it or whatever, but going ahead and having a conversation about it, not letting it fester and holding on to it. Because it also, not only, like you said, your friend was like, you know, why didn't you come and talk to me about it? But even if you go and talk to them about it and they don't receive it, it kind of helps you. For me, it helps me to be able to place you where I need to place you in this friendship category.
Right.
So it go ahead and eliminate, you know, wasted time. If because if you're gonna go, let's go ahead and let you go. Just saying, you know.
You already know that's where I'm at. Like, and it's not that I want to lose friends. That's not the case. But you know, I'm not perfect. They're not perfect. I don't get offended or want to throw the whole friendship away because you said something that I don't like. I know that there are times that I could be a hothead. I know that there are times that I could be out of order. Right. So if Lorraine or Crystal, if one of you come to me and say, that was kind of out of order, I'm saying that I'm going to be quick to be like, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to get myself together. I might not. I might be like, whatever. Right. Because I have to process that too.
Right.
But what I know about me is that I'm not going anywhere. That comment is not making me say, well, I ain't talking to Lorraine no more because she told me about it. It's going to make me, I might not receive it right then in the moment because feedback is hard.
Right.
Right. Honesty is hard, which is why so many of us don't want to be honest because it's not easy all the time. It doesn't always feel good for you or the person that you have to be honest to. Right. And so, but at the end of the day, I need that. Anybody that's in my circle knows I need that because I don't want to be walking around here like I'm right all the time and I'm offensive to everybody. If you can't come to me and tell me, that lets me know that you're not truly my friend anyway. If you are letting me be out here nasty, judgmental, rude, and you don't ever say anything. Now, I'm not talking about you. Okay. I've been learning a lot about being nice and being kind. I'm kind, but I'm not always nice. Nor am I going to be always nice because nice is not an attribute of God. Nice is the attribute of the enemy. If we really want to look at it, because we're nice because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Right, so if you tell me that I'm not nice, I'm okay with that. But I'm not unkind, right? I can be harsh, but I'm still not unkind. But if you feel that I am and you're not honest with me to say, Tanya, that was okay, Crystal, I'm putting this out there. There was an incident, right? Because we being real, right? We can't hurt nobody if we're not being real. There was an incident where we were talking to our children, right? And I was flying off the handle. I was losing it. I was like, who you think you talking to, right? And I was going off. And Crystal stood there. It's like, okay. She said, I think that was a bit much. I don't care what you think, because that was a bit much because they don't know who they talking to, and you don't know who you messing with, and you know all the things, right? Because I'm grown and they not, right? But I needed that. I needed that honesty. I needed her calmness, right? Even if she would have got on 10 with me, we just would have both been on 10, and then we would have came back. I'm like, yeah, you know, okay, I was trying to you ain't had to talk to me like that, you know. Like she was the one that was wrong. But I needed her calmness and I needed her honesty to say that's not even what happened, Tanya. Calm down. And of course, she didn't use these words because you can't tell somebody that's on 10 to calm down. That don't go well. But she was just, you know, when I did, she was like, let's that's not it, right? And so I say that to say all of us have something. So I'm not always nice, and sometimes I can be unkind. But if my sister doesn't check me in love, because I knew it was in love, even though I didn't like what she was saying at the moment, because I was right and she was wrong. I need everybody to get the moral of the story. I was right and she was wrong, right? Until I realized that I was wrong and she was right. But it was the honesty. It was the love. And even though I didn't receive it right away, it was the appropriate time. And so I had to sit back, I had to check myself, and I had to say, you know what? You're right. I get it. This is what I thought happened. This is what I thought was said. This is what I thought was done. And she was like, yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't. And so we were seeing from two different lenses, and that's okay because her experience is different from my experience.
Right.
And so we have to learn how to be honest, even in those hard times, and understand that, again, everybody might not accept it right away.
Right.
But if you're truly friends, and I know that you're coming to me in love, your motive is pure, then okay, I might take a moment, but okay, I'm going to receive it. And my prayer is that I can show that as well, right? Because I know that sometimes I can come off as harsh because I'm not always nice, but my motive is always right. That's one thing that I know. When I am giving someone some hard truths, my motive is always right because I know that I'm doing it in love, even if they don't receive it that way. So I'm working on delivery because I think that's important as well.
Right. Right. So let me throw a little monkey wrench maybe. And this has been talked about amongst friends and other people. So say you're close to somebody and they see something, maybe your significant other out somewhere that he shouldn't be with somebody else, right? And your friend comes to you and tells you. How do you receive it? And some people who are the friends and have to be the deliverer, they might be like, no, that's none of my business. I ain't getting into that. Like, if she don't know by now, I don't know what to tell her. So how would you handle a situation like that?
Right?
Am I going first?
Whoever wants to, you act like you have a lot to say on that.
I don't know. So okay. So if I have to be the one to deliver the news, okay, say I see one of y'all's booze out, right? First I'm gonna be like, I'm taking a picture. Because I need proof. I need the evidence because I don't want you angry with me. Because it could be sister, it could be auntie, it could be, whatever. And I don't want to be, but I'm like, if it's somebody that I don't know, right? And I don't know that he got his auntie here in town, right? I'm thinking he here by himself. It's just you and him. So, I mean, I might take the picture, I'm like, if I decide to get into it, right? I honestly don't know. If someone brought that to me, I would hope that they would have evidence as well, but I'm not so quick to throw it away. But I'm also not so quick to receive it. Now, if it's friend, like my sister friend, okay, that's a little different. But if it's friend, see, I don't do friends because friends are messy. Like, and friends don't want to see you happy. I'm using quotations. Can y'all see my?
We see them.
Because that everybody that's in your circle, and if we got some Judases, okay, let's be real. And some people just don't want to see you happy. So I saw so and so out and about. Okay, so what happens if my man had a pass, right? And so now it's easy to say that because he had a pass, right? But what people don't know is I know his pass. We talk enough for me to know his past. Like I can tell you his past. He know I know his past. I will talk to you about his past while he's sitting right there. Right? He's like, what is happening? Right? So I'm cautious on who I receive information from first. So if it's just somebody that I know, I might listen, I might hear it, but I don't know if I'm going to listen and process it. Because again, sometimes, let's be real, sometimes women keep you single. Single women keep people single sometimes. And so I gotta judge the source. I gotta know the source.
Judge the source. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, if I'm the deliverer,
if you saw my man out, girl, what you gonna do?
I'm coming to tell you. I'm taking a picture and I'm saying, girl, I don't know how accurate. Maybe he might got a twin or something. I don't know, but I'm just telling you what I saw. Because that can't happen, and I see it, and I didn't say nothing. I can't go to sleep on that,
A bar
So if you didn't say anything, would that be as a friend withholding information because it's none of my business?
So here, two things can be true at the same time. It could be none of your business and your business, right?
Yeah.
I ain't trying to,
Thank you.
Snitches get stitches. We understand that. And so I know that that's a messy situation. But for me, I'm gonna just speak for me. If my sister sees my man out and I find out that she saw my man out, she's no longer going to be my sister.
Right. Yeah.
And that you can call me messy, you can call me petty, you can call me all the things. That's just me, because that for me, that's the betrayal of sisterhood.
Right. Because they knew all along and didn't say
and you
anything.
see him smiling in my face and you smiling in my face, and it's, that's almost like your sister sleeping with your man. Like, what are we doing here?
Right. Right.
But at the same time, I try to give grace, because I understand that that's a scary situation for someone to have to come tell me that too. So I'm trying to give grace to my sister to say, okay, maybe she didn't know how to tell me. Maybe, so I have to say I don't know. But yeah, I probably would be extremely offended.
Well, prayerfully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I would, if it's my sister girl, I think I would be offended. I think that, and like you said, Tanya, extending that grace, because that is a hard thing to share. I was just talking to my daughter today about how you kind of have to gauge whether or not you're gonna get involved in couple issues, because I mean, they might be mad at each other today, and tomorrow everything good. Right. You better not say nothing. So it's just, I would want my sister girl to come and relay that information to me. If I was the one who had to deliver it, I don't know. It's hard. It just depends. I will definitely be in prayer about it for sure. God, please send me a sign.
Yeah, let me know. And I think sometimes it's hard. Those situations are hard because, okay, so let's be real. If I come to you and I'm honest with you, Lorraine, I saw Jim Bob out the other day, right? And he was Quita, or Sally.
Jim Bob with Quita.
Yeah, and you like, Tanya, you just, you're mad at me now, or you end up staying with him, and now I'm all offended. That's where I pull back. If I deliver that information, it's just me delivering it. I don't expect you to leave. I don't expect you to fight. I don't expect you to any of those things, because the reality is that's y'all's relationship. So even if I bring that to you, I can't be upset and so messy. Girl, you still staying with him?
Right.
It's like, okay, look, it is what it is. I have no judgment if you desire to stay. And I think that sometimes that's where we can also get a little confused, is that, if I tell her, then it's gonna break up the home, or she's gonna be mad at me. So it's just, I think that that's a case-by-case basis, and it really depends on the person. It depends on the situation. It depends on a lot of stuff, to say if I think that she's right or wrong. Now, if Crystal saw my husband out and she didn't tell me, and I found out that she saw him out, and we had a conversation, and she was like, I didn't know how to tell you. I can respect that. That for me is different, because I understand that. And I know that even though she's my sister, she is in between a rock and a hard place. Like, I don't know how to tell somebody this information. But if she's like, well, that ain't my business, that's
different.
A little different.
Well, for me, how would I take? I would want someone to tell me. I wouldn't be upset or anything. And I wouldn't, like, in the friendship, I would want to know. And if they withheld the information from me, that would hurt me, because all this time you knew, but you didn't say anything to me. I would be a little hurt. Would I dissolve the friendship? No, but it would hurt me. And I'm not really one to like leave friendships anyway, because I've been the girl I had told you about, the 20-year friend. We've been through so much together, separated, not talked for a couple of years, came back together. So the thing is, if you're truly friends, you can stand the test of time. You truly can.
Yeah. And I think Crystal hit the nail on the head. Like sometimes that just lets you know where to place them in certain situations.
Exactly.
Like you're not somebody that I'm going to trust with that, right? Or it is what it is. I think it just depends on the individual. Everybody's different.
Right.
I don't know if there's a right or a wrong for that.
Yeah, true. Any other case scenarios you guys want to ask? No.
I don't have any case scenarios.
No. I'm the only one mind wandering around here with some crazy stuff.
Oh, I got a good one.
Asker.
What about when we start talking about being honest when it comes to children? Ooh.
Explain.
In what aspect?
Okay, so let's say your kid is just like you are observing your friends' children be disrespectful to her, be disrespectful to them, just off the chain, just doing whatever. And they just kind of like running all over your friend. And like, how do you address that? What do you say?
Well, I can't say anything because my kids do it to me all the time. So all I can do is like, God bless you. I'm glad
because we be sensitive about our kids, right? I mean,
I could just be like, you telling the truth, child. I don't know what to do. Can you pray for me, please? So that wouldn't be a thing for me because I'm used to that kind of stuff.
I think for me, it depends on how close I am with the person. It depends again on how receptive the person may be. It depends on the conversation that we're having. So if you open a door about your children, and you give me a little wiggle room, I'm coming in. Like,
those are facts.
We're coming in, and you may not like what I have to say, but I'm going to give you that harsh reality. It's not them, it's you. If they're running all over you, let's back this thing up. And I'm not saying that my children don't act out. So don't think that, she's saying that because her children are angels. If you know me, and you know my kids, they're not. Just saying. But I think that sometimes I have parented out of a low place and I have parented out of guilt, right? Guilt of not being with the dad, or guilt of, things not going the right way, guilt of a divorce, so on and so forth. And so I overcompensate for that parent not being there. And so I know what it's like to have a child that is now entitled, or a child that is now this, that, or the other. And I know what it's like also to have to reel that back in and reset those boundaries in the home and say, you know what, this is my home. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to. And so I have put many of children out, and I will put many more children out if needed. And so if I have somebody in my presence, a sister, a brother, whoever that is struggling with that, and they give me the opportunity, I'm going to say, what boundaries do you have in place? And then you usually get the, oh, okay, well, are you okay with what's happening? If not, then it could be beneficial, because I'm never going to tell somebody, you need to do this, and that. That's just not what I do. But I can help you set up some boundaries if you need to. But yeah, I have had to have those honest conversations with friends who have had children that have, kind of been in that rough situation, and let them know, it's an entity. You're fighting an entity. It's not necessarily the child, but it's a spirit operating within them. Absolutely. And so you have to confront that spirit head on, and you don't have to, but it's beneficial for you to set some firm boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable. Because when you set boundaries, they begin to fight with you. And it's easy to just say, you know what, do whatever you want to do. But then we're reinforcing the negative behavior. So yes, I've had to be honest with friends regarding their children. And that's probably the hardest honesty that I've ever had. I can be honest with you about you. I could be honest with you about your relationship. I could be honest with you about a lot of things, but to be honest with you about your children is for me probably the hardest, because you're right. People are sensitive about their children. And I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm like, your kid's bad. Like, because I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. Because I got some. Like this.
You come at them like that, Tanya. Your kid's bad.
No, kid's bad. Where you get this baby kids from? Like, I don't ever want anyone to feel like that. So I try to bring it in a way that I support you. And if we have to talk about these boundaries every time we talk, we'll talk about the boundaries every time we talk. I don't think less of you because it's hard to set a boundary, because I know what it was like for me to learn how to set a boundary and to learn how to regulate. And not that it works all the time, because children are children and they do teenage stuff and infant stuff and grown kid stuff. But yeah, I have had to be honest with friends about children.
Okay. So we're going to reel it in. And one more subject about honesty, accountability. Since we're women of virtue and we're walking this faith walk with our sisters we love so dearly, and we're walking this walk, are we truthful in accountability? Do we have someone that we could confess and talk to, and be truthful with? I had to get an accountability partner because, I was going through some things and haven't really needed her. But because I'm walking the straight, but I struggled with something. And I let her know, and I was like, I need you to be there in case this happens again. But I just use her as accountability partner. But with friends and everything, I think I would be honest and say, hey, I'm dealing with this. Hey, can you pray for me or whatnot? So I don't have an issue with telling people what I may be dealing with and struggling with or whatnot. So far, so good, except for this honesty and friendships when it's like, hey, what are you doing? How did that thing really work on that? What do you guys think?
So are we talking about accountability just with ourselves, our own actions? Are we talking about having an accountability partner?
Anything that you feel that you like within friendships, like, you're saved, you're living your journey on this virtuous woman journey, and people really think you are. But, if there's something that you are struggling with, because I know Crystal, me and her talk, she's honest about some things that she is going through. And I'd be like, hey, okay, I'll pray for her and stuff like that. So that's what I'm talking about, the honesty, having accountability, knowing her as a friend, and she's telling me what she may be struggling with, being honest with me in that area, where she could just be like, praise the Lord on everything's okay, but not telling me that. So I appreciate her honesty in that, so I can pray with her on those things, and vice versa. Crystal?
I was just gonna say, I think that personally, just like you said, Lorraine, being able to share what my struggles are and then have somebody to pray with me and I've been able to do the same thing with Tanya, to share what my struggles are. It is such a burden lifted off. And I can't recall the scripture right now, but it says to confess your sins one to another. And in this way, y'all know the scripture I'm talking about. If somebody look it up for me real quick, I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. But there is so much truth in that. Being able to, there's such a weight lifted off, and then to have somebody come alongside you and lift you up in prayer. I have felt the prayers of my sisters in those moments of struggle. And I've also witnessed God move on my behalf in those areas and just kind of, make the way and set the path where, okay, I'm giving you a way of escape, you know.
Right.
And so it's freeing. And I think that we would experience less stress and anxiety. And I honestly think that sometimes it's a difficult journey, and maybe many women shy away from taking that journey and walking that straight and narrow, or attempting to, because it makes it I think that sometimes as Christian women, and I'm speaking generally, that we put out this persona or this picture that, you know, I'm a virtuous woman, I'm living my life consecrated to God, and I don't struggle with anything, I just got it all together. I really think that we like, as Christian women, we put that picture out, and that's just a lot of times not true. It's just,
The
and I'm
lie
not,
from the pit.
just not true. Like, we are still in this flesh. We are struggling with something. We are
Mhm.
broken. Like,
Yeah.
that's a fact. And if you are walking around here like you're not, you are greatly deceived. And
Hmm.
so I think that we send the wrong message when we walk around like we have it all together, instead of, you know, we hold on to these things, not even realizing that that's how the enemy keeps us bound. When we keep things secret and we don't share and we don't confess, we are subject to him. Like, we are, you know, he keeps us in the darkness. He keeps us bound because we are afraid of judgment. We're afraid, we feel ashamed. You got to find your people that's going, that you're going to be able to be safe with and confess, and them hold you accountable, and them give you grace and compassion and lovingly, you know, hold you up. It's so, there's freedom there.
Right.
And your scripture was James 5:16. Therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The prayer of the righteous person has great power as it is working.
That's where your healing is.
Amen.
Yeah, I think, and I'll be quick because I know we got to wrap up. I like what you said towards the end. You got to find your person. I have had multiple accountability partners that I have shared with that didn't work out.
Mhm.
For a number of reasons, and I'm in no way blaming any one person, right? But so that has caused me to back up from that phase of the accountability partner, per se, because of past experiences. Now,
Right.
do I have sisters that I do talk to and that do pray for me? And I'm pretty open as well. I'm not, super closed off. Now, some people will say that's not true because I'm not open to them, and I'm not supposed to be. So
Right.
have to keep that. That's probably not true for you, but I am open to those that I'm open to, and so yeah, I am more cautious though about the whole
Mhm.
accountability partner because just of past experiences, and I think that as women, especially, we have to do better of, if we want to be an accountability partner, we have to do a better job of that, right?
Right.
And leave space for someone to come and share their deep dark secrets with you,
Yeah.
because if I share my deep dark secret with you and now that's the issue for you, now I might not share my deep dark secret with anybody else.
Right.
And so we can close people off really quick. And so yeah, I don't know if I have an accountability partner per se, but I'm okay with that right now. I do have individuals that I do confide in and speak to. Yes.
Yeah. Before I picked my accountability partner, trust and believe, I prayed about it. She was watched. Um, she was definitely watched, to see how she moves, and how she handles herself and how she handles situations and things like that. Um, and like I said, I prayed about it, and God said she's okay. She's okay to be your accountability partner. I think I confided in her a couple of things. Um, but she's probably like, dang, Lorraine hasn't talked to me in a minute, because I'm not, like, I think too, in having her as accountability partner lets me know it keeps me on track so I don't have to go to her for too much of anything. So it's been a while since I said, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? So
Nice.
any final words about this, Crystal? No?
No.
Okay. So we're going to wrap it up, huh?
I'm sorry. I just said that's all I got.
Okay. So we hope that this podcast about honesty and friendships is honesty with love, a virtue worth practicing. And honesty doesn't mean harshness. It means truth spoken in love. And this is the kind of friendship that endures. So we're going to say good night. And we'll see y'all next week. We don't know what the subject matter is next week, but we assure you it'll be good. We'll see you later.
Good night.
Good night.
She's been through storms, she's walked through fire, still moves with strength, not loud but higher, no spotlight needed, no grand applause, she stands for truth, she knows her cause, and she's not perfect, but she's real and sure, a woman of virtue who will endure.